The air on Theris 9 burned when you breathed it. Not hot like fire, but sharp like tiny needles in your lungs. Hyunwoo had learned to take small breaths, to move slowly, to save his strength. 8 months in this place had taught him many things about survival. He swung the mining tool again. The rock cracked under the impact. Sweat ran down his face and back. Around him, other prisoners worked in silence. Most were not human. There were tall blue creatures with 4 arms. There were short gray ones with thick skin. There were even some that looked like giant insects. But humans? There were only 5 humans left in this camp. 3 had died in the first month. 2 more died after that. The Kareth guards didn't care. They called humans soft meat and laughed when humans struggled with the heavy tools. To them, humans were weak. Humans were small. Humans died easily. The only reason they kept humans at all was because humans could work in the toxic air longer than most species. Something about human lungs. Something about human blood. Hyunwoo didn't understand the science. He just knew he could breathe here, even if it hurt. "Move faster, soft meat!" A guard's voice echoed across the mining pit. Hyunwoo didn't look up. Looking up meant trouble. He just kept swinging his tool. Near the edge of the pit, Hyunwoo saw her, the Kelthari female. Her name was Vrenna. He had heard other prisoners say it. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with dark green scales that shimmered in the red sunlight. Her kind were strong, much stronger than humans. But right now, she looked tired. Next to her worked a small version of her, a child. The little one's scales were lighter, almost yellow-green. It carried a container too big for its size, stumbling every few steps. Pip. That was what Vrenna called the child. Hyunwoo had heard her whisper the name when she thought no one was listening. Hyunwoo watched as Pip struggled with the container. The child was too small for this work, too young. But the Kareth didn't care about age. Everyone worked. Everyone suffered. The container slipped. Pip grabbed for it, missed, and stumbled backward, toward the open shaft, the mining shaft that dropped hundreds of feet into darkness. Hyunwoo dropped his tool. His body moved before his mind could think. He ran, his legs burned, his lungs screamed, but he ran. Pip's foot touched the edge. The child's arms windmilled, trying to balance, falling. Hyunwoo's hand shot out. He grabbed Pip's arm. His other hand caught the edge of the shaft. His body swung over the darkness for one terrible moment. Then he pulled with everything he had. He dragged himself and the child back onto solid ground. They lay there, both breathing hard. Pip's large eyes stared at him, eyes that were gold and slit like a cat's. The child made a small chirping sound. "Pip!" Vrenna's roar shook the air. She ran toward them, her massive feet pounding the ground. She scooped up the child, checking for injuries. Then her eyes locked on Hyunwoo. Those eyes were fierce, filled with fear and anger and something else, something Hyunwoo couldn't name. "Why?" Her voice was deep, rough. "Why did you risk yourself?" Hyunwoo sat up slowly. His hands were shaking. "Someone has to," he said. Vrenna stared at him. In her culture, this human knew, warriors were respected. Strength was everything. But humans had no strength. Humans were prey. Why would prey save a predator's child? "You are human," she said, like it explained everything. "Yeah." Hyunwoo got to his feet. His legs felt like water. "I am." "Humans are weak." "Yeah, we are." "You could have died." "Yeah, I could have." Vrenna's mouth opened, then closed. She held Pip tighter. The child was making small sounds like a cat purring, but it was looking at Hyunwoo, not its mother. "I don't understand you," Vrenna finally said. Hyunwoo picked up his fallen tool. "Don't need to understand. Just need to work." He walked back to his spot and started swinging again. His heart was still racing, his hands still shaking, but he was alive. And more importantly, the kid was alive. That evening, in the barracks, Hyunwoo sat on his thin mat. His body ached everywhere. It always did. He pulled out his small ration pack. It wasn't much. Some kind of protein paste and a hard grain brick. It was barely enough to keep him alive. But it was all prisoners got. A shadow fell over him. He looked up. Vrenna stood there, Pip holding her hand. The child barely came up to Hyunwoo's shoulder. "Here." Vrenna held out her hand. In it was a piece of dried meat. "You saved Pip. Take this." Hyunwoo shook his head. "Keep it. Your kid needs it more than me. You need strength to work." "I'll manage." Vrenna's eyes narrowed. "You refuse my gift?" "Not refusing. Just don't need it." Hyunwoo opened his ration pack. He broke the grain brick in half. He held out one piece to Pip. "Here, kid. Growing bodies need more food." Pip looked at Vrenna. Vrenna looked at Hyunwoo like he had grown a second head. "You give your food to my child?" "Half of it. I still got the other half and the paste." He waggled the piece at Pip. "Go on. Take it." Small clawed hands reached out slowly. Pip took the food and immediately started eating. The child's tail, which had been drooping, now swished back and forth with happiness. "I don't understand you," Vrenna said again, but this time her voice was softer. "You are strange, human." "Name's Hyunwoo." "Hyunwoo." She tried the name slowly. "I am Vrenna. This is Pip." "Nice to meet you both. Properly, I mean." Vrenna sat down across from him. It was unusual. Different species didn't usually mix in the barracks. Everyone kept to their own kind. But here she was, sitting with him, watching her child eat the food he had given. "Where do you come from, Hyunwoo?" "Earth. Far from here. Really far." He ate his remaining food slowly, making it last. "Was on a transport ship. Got captured. Ended up here." "I am from Kelthar, the third moon of our system. I refused to pay tribute to the Kareth. They took me and Pip as punishment." "How old is Pip?" 3 cycles. Very young. Too young for this place." Her voice cracked slightly. "I try to protect Pip, but I cannot be everywhere, cannot watch every moment. Today, if you had not been there..." She didn't finish. Didn't need to. "I was a medic. Before all this, on Earth, it was my job to protect people, to save them." Hyunwoo looked at his hands. Hands that used to heal. Now they just broke rocks. "Can't really save anyone here, but I can try." Vrenna was quiet for a long time. Pip finished eating and curled up against her mother's side, already falling asleep. "Thank you, Hyunwoo of Earth, for my child's life." "You're welcome." As Vrenna carried the sleeping Pip away, other prisoners watched. Word would spread. The weak human had saved a Kelthari child. It would be talked about in whispers. Some would think him foolish, others would think him brave. But Hyunwoo didn't care what they thought. He laid down on his mat and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be another hard day. More mining, more pain, more toxic air. But tonight, a child was alive who might not have been. And that had to count for something. In the darkness, Hyunwoo didn't see Vrenna watching him from across the barracks. Didn't see the way she looked at him with new eyes. Like she was seeing something she had never expected to find in this terrible place. A protector who wore no armor, a warrior who had no weapons, a human who cared more about others than himself. It was the beginning of something neither of them understood yet. Something that would change everything. 2 weeks passed. Hyunwoo shared his food with Pip every evening. Not much, just a little from each ration. But it was enough to put some energy back into the child's movements. Pip's scales grew brighter. The little one could carry containers without stumbling now. Vrenna said nothing, but she watched. Always watched. Sometimes Hyunwoo would look up from his work to find her golden eyes on him. It made him uncomfortable. He wasn't doing anything special. He was just being decent. But here, In this place, decency seemed to be rare. The trouble started on a cold morning. Well, cold for Theris 9, which meant it only felt like breathing knives instead of breathing fire. The quota board showed the numbers for yesterday's work. Each prisoner had to mine a certain amount of ore, fall short, and there were punishments. Vrenna's number was in red. She had missed her quota by 30 pounds. Not much, but enough. Overseer Krask noticed. Of course he noticed. Krask was a Karath, big and covered in thick brown hide. He had 4 eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. He loved finding reasons to punish prisoners. It was his favorite entertainment. "Kelthari female!" His voice boomed across the mining pit. "You failed your quota." Vrenna stood tall. "My child was sick. I had to care for Pip. I don't care about your spawn. You work or you suffer. Those are the rules. I will work harder today. Make up the difference." Krask laughed. It was not a nice sound. "Too late for that. You need to be taught a lesson. Everyone needs to see what happens when you fail." He pointed toward the arena building. "You fight tonight. Entertainment for us. Punishment for you." The other prisoners went very quiet. Fighting in the arena was bad. Very bad. Krask liked to bring in creatures. Dangerous creatures. Prisoners who went into the arena often didn't come out. Vrenna's scales darkened. It was a fear response, Hyunwoo had learned. "I will fight, but Pip stays in the barracks." "No." Krask's smile grew wider. "The spawn comes too. Sits in the front row. Watches. If you die, the spawn sees it. Good lesson for the little one." "You can't." "I can do whatever I want, female. Arena. Tonight. Don't be late." Hyunwoo felt his stomach turn to ice. That night he tried to talk to Vrenna. She sat in her corner of the barracks, holding Pip close. The child was chirping nervously, sensing its mother's fear. "What will you fight?" Hyunwoo asked. "I don't know. Krask chooses. Could be anything." Her voice was flat, dead. "I am a good fighter, Hyunwoo. I have fought before, but I am tired, malnourished. If he brings something big..." She didn't finish. She didn't need to. "Is there a way out of this?" "No. If I refuse, he will throw Pip to whatever creature he brings. The rules say I must fight or forfeit. Forfeit means Pip takes my place." Hyunwoo felt anger burn in his chest, hot and fierce. "That's sick. That is Krask." Vrenna looked at him. "Will you watch over Pip's body? After, if I fall? Will you make sure it is treated with respect?" "Don't talk like that. I must be realistic. No, you must be alive. For Pip." That evening, prisoners were herded into the arena. It was a rough circle carved from stone, with seats rising up on all sides. Guards stood at every exit. Hyunwoo found himself pushed into a seat 3 rows up. Pip was dragged to the front row, held there by a guard. The child was crying, making high-pitched sounds of distress. Krask stood in the center of the arena. "Tonight, we have a special show. The Kelthari female who thinks she's too good to meet quotas will fight for our entertainment." The guards dragged Vrenna into the arena. They gave her nothing, no weapon, no armor, just her claws and her strength. And her opponent. Krask gestured to a large gate. A Vexthor, fresh from the hunting grounds. The gate opened. The thing that came out was nightmare made flesh. It stood 8 feet tall on 4 legs. Its body was covered in black scales and spikes. Its mouth had 3 rows of teeth. Its 6 eyes glowed red in the dim light. The prisoners gasped. A Vexthor. Krask had brought a Vexthor. Those things could tear through steel. They were apex predators, fast and vicious and nearly impossible to kill. Vrenna spread her stance, her claws extended. She was ready to fight, ready to die trying. The Vexthor roared. The sound shook the arena. Then it charged. But it didn't charge at Vrenna. It charged at the stands, at the front row, at Pip. Later, Hyunwoo wouldn't remember deciding to move. His body just moved. One moment he was in his seat. The next he was vaulting the barrier. Landing hard on the arena floor, running. The Vex Thor was fast, impossibly fast. Its jaws opened wide, reaching for the small yellow-green child who screamed in terror. Hyunwoo hit the creature from the side. Not hard enough to hurt it, not even close, but hard enough to redirect its attention. The massive head turned, looked at him, the tiny human who dared to interfere. "Run, Vrenna!" Hyunwoo shouted. "I'll keep it busy. You'll die. Then make it count." The Vex Thor's claw came down. Hyunwoo rolled, but not fast enough. The claw caught his shoulder, tearing through his prison clothes and into his flesh. Pain exploded through his body. He screamed but kept moving. He couldn't fight this thing, couldn't hurt it. His fists would break before its scales did, but he could do something else. Something humans were good at. He could take the hits. Another claw. This one got his side. He felt ribs crack, tasted blood, but he stayed between the creature and Pip, always between them. "Move, human!" Vrenna was on the creature's back now, her claws digging into its neck. But the Vex Thor barely noticed. It was focused on Hyunwoo, the weak thing that wouldn't stop moving, wouldn't stop getting in the way. Teeth snapped down on Hyunwoo's arm. He felt bones crack. More pain. Everything was pain. But he grabbed the creature's jaw with his other hand, held on. It was useless. It didn't hurt the creature, but it kept those teeth busy, kept them away from Pip. The Vex Thor shook its head, trying to throw him off. Hyunwoo flew through the air, hit the ground hard. Something in his back crunched. He tried to stand. His legs wouldn't work right. The creature was coming back, coming to finish him. Behind it, Vrenna roared, a sound of pure fury. She jumped from its back, landed in front of Hyunwoo's broken body, and caught the creature's next strike with her bare hands. Her scales were glowing now, some kind of biological response. Her strength doubled, tripled. She grabbed the Vex Thor's head with both hands. The creature thrashed, but she held on, twisted. The sound of breaking bone echoed through the silent arena. The Vex Thor fell, dead. Vrenna stood over it, breathing hard. Then she turned to Hyunwoo. He was lying in a pool of his own blood, still breathing, but barely. "Why?" She knelt beside him. Her hands were shaking. "Why would you do this?" Hyunwoo's vision was blurry. Everything hurt. But he could still see Pip, still alive, still safe. "Someone has to." The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Pip's face. The child was crying, reaching for him, and Vrenna was screaming for a medic, screaming at the guards, screaming at Krask. The overseer stood in shock. He had expected to watch a Kelthari die. Instead, he had watched a human do the impossible. Take punishment meant for a creature 10 times his size, survive long enough for a mother to save her child. The entire arena was silent, every prisoner staring. A human, a weak, soft human, had just proven that strength wasn't everything. Sometimes the ability to endure was worth more than the ability to fight, and Hyunwoo had endured. Hyunwoo woke up 3 days later. His first thought was that everything hurt. His second thought was that he shouldn't be alive. The medical bay was a cold, gray room with thin beds and basic equipment. The Karath didn't waste good medicine on prisoners. Most who ended up here either recovered on their own or died. There was no in-between. But Hyunwoo was alive, bandaged, broken, but alive. "You wake." The voice was deep and familiar. Vrenna sat in a chair beside his bed. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Pip was curled up at the foot of his bed, sleeping. "How long?" Hyunwoo's voice came out as a croak. 3 days. Your injuries were severe. Broken ribs, fractured arm, torn muscles, massive blood loss. She listed them like reading a report. "The medics said you would die. I told them you wouldn't." "Why?" "Because you're too stubborn." She almost smiled. Almost. I traded my rations and pips, and I threatened the medical staff, told them if you died, I would make sure they joined you. They believed me. Hyunwoo tried to sit up. Pain shot through his body. You shouldn't have done that. You need those rations. And you need to heal. Vrenna stood and gently pushed him back down. Don't move. You're still broken in many places. Pip okay? Pip is fine. Because of you. Her voice grew thick. You threw yourself at a Vex Thor. Do you understand how insane that is? Those creatures kill trained warriors. They tear through armor like paper. And you, a human, with no weapons, no protection, you just ran at it. Had to protect the kid. Why? Pip is not your offspring, not your species, not your responsibility. Why would you give your life for a child that means nothing to you? Hyunwoo looked at the sleeping form of Pip. The little one's scales rose and fell with each breath. So peaceful, so alive. Because someone has to care. Because if we don't protect kids, what's the point of anything? Vrenna sat back down heavily. In my culture, protecting another's offspring is sacred. It's the highest honor. We call it Velkor, soul guardian. When someone saves your child's life, you owe them a debt that can never be repaid. They become part of your family, bonded by action instead of blood. I don't want a debt. Too bad. You have one. She reached out and touched his uninjured hand. Her scaled fingers were warm. I don't understand humans, Hyunwoo. My people say humans are weak, fragile, short-lived. But you took hits that would have killed any of my warriors. You absorbed damage that should have destroyed your body. How? Hyunwoo closed his eyes. We're good at suffering. Humans, I mean. We're not the strongest, not the fastest, not the smartest, but we can take punishment and keep going. It's how we survived on Earth. We outlasted everything that tried to kill us. We just endure. That's your strength? Endurance? Yeah, not very glamorous, but it works. Vrenna was quiet for a long moment. Tell me about Earth, about your life before this. So Hyunwoo told her. He told her about his home colony on the edge of human space, about his wife, Hana, about his daughter, Gina, about how raiders attacked when he was away on a medical transport, about how he came home to find nothing but ashes and graves. That's why I became a field medic, he said. Couldn't save them, but maybe I could save someone else, someone else's wife, someone else's kid. Maybe that would make it hurt less. Did it? No. But it gave me a reason to keep going. Vrenna looked at Pip. I understand. When they took us, my mate fought back. The Kareth killed him in front of Pip and me. I had to watch. Had to stay alive for Pip. Because if I died, my child would have no one. I'm sorry. Don't be. We both carry our dead. But we're still here, still fighting, still protecting. She squeezed his hand. That's what makes us strong. Over the next week, other prisoners started visiting. They brought small gifts, extra water, pieces of cloth for better bandages. One prisoner, a tall, blue-skinned being named Day, brought a carved stone. For the human who showed us courage, Day said, placing the stone next to Hyunwoo's bed. We all saw what you did. We won't forget. Another prisoner, a gray-skinned female named Mira, bowed deeply. My people judge others by their actions, not their species. You have earned respect, Hyunwoo of Earth. Word had spread through the entire camp. The weak human who fought a Vex Thor, who took hits meant to kill, who survived through sheer determination. Prisoners who had barely acknowledged humans before now looked at Hyunwoo differently, but not everyone was happy. Overseer Krask visited on the 8th day. He stood at the foot of Hyunwoo's bed, his 4 eyes cold and angry. You made me look weak, Krask said. The other overseers are laughing at me, saying I can't even kill one fragile human. This is your fault. Hyunwoo met his gaze. I just protected a kid. You interfered with official punishment. You should have died in that arena, would have died if not for the Kelthari female. Krask leaned closer. This isn't over. Human. I will find a way to make you pay. You and the Kelthari spawn. You'll both regret making me look foolish. After Krask left, Vrenna looked worried. He will try something. Krask doesn't forgive, doesn't forget. Let him try. Hyunwoo shifted in bed, wincing at the pain. I've survived worse. You almost died, Hyunwoo. But I didn't. I'm still here, still breathing. That's what matters. Pip woke up then, yawning and showing rows of small teeth. The child looked at Hyunwoo and chirped happily. Then Pip did something new. The little one climbed up onto Hyunwoo's bed, carefully avoiding his injuries, and curled up against his side. Koda, Pip said. It was the first word Hyunwoo had heard the child speak. Koda. Vrenna's eyes went wide. Pip just called you Koda. That means protector in our language. It's what children call their fathers. I'm not. To Pip you are. You saved Pip's life. You took the hits meant for my child. In Pip's eyes, you are Koda. Protector. Father. Hyunwoo looked down at the small being curled against him. Pip's scales were warm. The child's breathing was soft and steady. Trusting. Safe. Something in Hyunwoo's chest cracked, not from injury, from something else. Something that had been frozen since he lost Gina. The ice around his heart melted just a little. He raised his good hand and gently touched Pip's head. Koda, he repeated softly. Okay, I can be that. Vrenna watched them with unreadable eyes. In her culture, this moment meant everything. A human, an outsider, accepting the role of protector, accepting Pip as someone worth dying for. It changed things, changed everything. When you heal, Vrenna said quietly, I will teach you about our ways, about what it means to be Velcor, about what you have become to us. What have I become? Family. That night, Hyunwoo slept better than he had in months. Pip stayed curled against him. Vrenna kept watch. And for the first time since losing everything, Hyunwoo felt like maybe he had found something worth protecting again. Not a replacement for what he lost. Nothing could replace Hana and Gina, but something new. Something that needed him. Something that made the pain of living a little more bearable. Outside, Krask plotted his revenge. But inside the medical bay, 3 beings from different worlds formed a bond stronger than species, stronger than circumstances. They became what they needed most. They became family. Hyunwoo returned to work 2 weeks later. His body was still healing, but the Karoth didn't care. Work or die. Those were the only options. His injuries slowed him down. Each swing of the mining tool sent pain through his ribs. Each breath of toxic air burned his damaged lungs. But he kept working, kept surviving. Pip and Vrenna worked near him now. They stayed close, like they were afraid he might disappear if they looked away. Krask watched them, always watching. His 4 eyes followed their every movement. He was planning something. Hyunwoo could feel it. The Overseer's hatred was like a weight in the air. It happened on a cold morning 3 days later. Pip had followed Vrenna to a new section of the mine. It was deep, far from the main work area. The supports looked old and weak. Hyunwoo didn't like it, but he had no choice. He was assigned to a different tunnel. He was 2 hours into his shift when he heard the explosion. Not loud, not like bombs, more like a deep crack, like the planet itself was breaking. Then screaming. Then alarms. Hyunwoo dropped his tool and ran. Other prisoners ran too, toward the sound, toward the screaming. When they reached the new section, Hyunwoo's heart stopped. The tunnel had collapsed. Tons of rock blocked the entrance, and behind that rock, trapped in the dark, were 7 prisoners. including Pip. Vrenna was screaming, clawing at the rocks with her bare hands. Her scales were bright with panic. "Pip! Pip! Answer me!" A faint chirping came from behind the collapse. Weak. Scared. But alive. One of the guards spoke into a communicator. "Tunnel collapse in Section 7. Multiple prisoners trapped." The response was cold. "Leave them. Not worth the effort to dig out." Vrenna turned on the guard, fury in her eyes. "My child is in there." "Then your child dies. Those are the rules." "I'll dig them out myself." "The tunnel is filling with gas. Red gas from the lower levels. They have maybe 10 minutes before they suffocate. Even if you dug through, you'd die from the gas yourself. It's over." Hyun-woo pushed through the crowd. He looked at the collapsed tunnel, at the small gaps between rocks where toxic red gas was already seeping out. 10 minutes, maybe less. "I'll go," he said. Everyone turned to look at him. The guard laughed. "You? You're still broken from the arena. You'd die before you got halfway through." "Probably. But I'm going anyway." Hyun-woo started pulling rocks away from the smallest gap. "Humans can hold their breath longer than most species, and we survive oxygen loss better. I have a chance." "You have a death wish," the guard said. "Yeah. Had that for years. Might as well use it for something good." Vrenna grabbed his shoulder. "Hyun-woo, you can't. You'll die in there." "Maybe. But Pip dies for sure if I don't try." He looked into her golden eyes. "I told you. Someone has to care. Someone has to try. I'm that someone. I can't lose you both." "Then you better hope I'm as stubborn as you think I am." He touched her face gently. "If I don't make it, tell Pip I tried. Tell Pip the Coda fought to the end." Before Vrenna could stop him, Hyun-woo squeezed through the gap. The space was tight, barely wide enough for his body. Rock scraped his skin. His ribs screamed in protest. But he pushed forward. Inside the tunnel, the air was thick with red gas. It burned his eyes, burned his throat. He took one last clean breath from the gap and then held it. Started crawling deeper. The tunnel was collapsed in sections. Some parts he could crawl through, others he had to dig through. His hands bled. His body protested every movement. But he kept going. 40 seconds. His lungs were starting to burn. 50 seconds. He found a small pocket of air that wasn't filled with gas yet. He took a quick breath. It wasn't good air, but it was better than nothing. He crawled further, heard voices ahead, crying, calling for help. 1 minute, 1:30. His vision was starting to blur. His body was screaming for oxygen, but he could see them now. 7 prisoners huddled together in a small space. One was badly hurt. 2 were unconscious, and Pip was there, curled up and crying. "I'm here!" Hyun-woo gasped. "I'm getting you out!" The trapped prisoners stared at him in shock. "The human? They sent the injured human?" "Nobody sent me. I volunteered. Come on. We need to move fast. We can't fit through that tunnel. It's too small." "Then I'll carry you one at a time. Start with the worst injured." Hyun-woo grabbed the unconscious prisoner, a heavy reptilian being. He started dragging the being back through the tunnel. It was agony. The extra weight made every movement harder. His ribs felt like they were breaking again. But he pulled with everything he had. When he reached the gap, other prisoners helped pull the injured one through. "One down," Hyun-woo gasped. 6 to go. "You can't make 6 more trips," Vrenna shouted. "The gas is getting thicker." "Watch me." He went back in, this time for the other unconscious prisoner, then again for the badly injured one. Each trip was harder than the last. His body was failing. His lungs were damaged from breathing the gas. His vision kept going dark, but he kept moving. Trip 4, 5, 6. The tunnel was filling with gas faster now. He could barely see, barely breathe. 2 prisoners left. One was Pip. "You go first," he told the last prisoner, a tall being with blue skin. "You take the child." I'll follow. No, you first. That's an order. The prisoner didn't argue. Hyun-woo pushed them toward the gap. Then he turned back for Pip. The child was barely conscious now. The gas had affected Pip badly. Small bodies suffered faster. Hey, little one, Hyun-woo whispered. His voice was almost gone. Koda's here. Koda's got you. He picked up Pip. The child was light, so light. He started crawling back, but his body was done. His legs stopped working. His arms could barely move. He was dragging himself forward on his stomach, holding Pip against his chest with one arm. The gap was so far away, too far. He wasn't going to make it. His vision went black. His body stopped responding. He fell. Then hands grabbed him, multiple hands, pulling him, pulling Pip, dragging them both toward the light. Vrenna, she had come in after him, despite the gas, despite the danger. She had her child in one hand and Hyun-woo in the other, and she was pulling them both out. They broke through the gap together, fell onto the ground outside. Hyun-woo couldn't breathe. His lungs were full of gas. His body was shutting down. No! Vrenna was screaming. No, you don't get to die! Not after everything! You don't get to leave us! Hands pressed on his chest. Someone was trying to clear his lungs, trying to force air back in. Hyun-woo could hear Pip crying, could hear Vrenna begging, could hear other prisoners shouting. Then Day was there, the tall blue prisoner. Everyone back! Give him space! Day knew some medicine, knew how to help. Day pressed on Hyun-woo's chest in a rhythm, forcing the bad air out, forcing good air in. Hyun-woo coughed, gasped, coughed again. Red gas came up, then blood, then finally air, clean air. He sucked it in desperately. There, Day shouted. He's breathing. Hyun-woo's eyes opened. Blurry shapes surrounded him. Prisoners, so many prisoners, all looking down at him. Some were crying, some were cheering. All of them had seen what he did. 7 trips into a death tunnel, 7 lives saved. When he was already broken, already dying, he had done it anyway. Vrenna held him and Pip together, her arms around them both. You stupid, brave, impossible human, she sobbed. Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep almost dying? Someone has to. Hyun-woo coughed again. His voice was barely there. Someone has to care. Pip chirped weakly and pressed against him. The child was alive. All 7 prisoners were alive, because one broken human decided that their lives mattered more than his own safety. Vrenna looked at all the gathered prisoners, looked at their faces, at their respect, at their awe, and she made a decision. She stood, still holding Hyun-woo and Pip. Her voice rang out across the crowd. I declare before all witnesses, Hyun-woo of Earth is Velcor, sole guardian. He has saved my child not once, but many times. He has proven his heart. I claim him as family, as protector, as father to Pip. This bond is sacred and eternal. The prisoners fell silent. Among the Keltharii, this declaration was sacred, binding. It meant Hyun-woo was no longer just a friend or ally. He was family, bound by blood and action. Hyun-woo tried to speak, tried to understand, but his body finally gave out. He slipped into unconsciousness, his last sensation being Vrenna's arms holding him safe. He had saved them all, and in doing so, he had sealed his fate. He was Velcor now, part of a family he never expected, bound to them in ways he didn't yet understand. The question was, when freedom came, would this bond let him go? Or had he tied himself to them forever? 3 months passed. Hyun-woo recovered slowly. His lungs were permanently damaged from the gas. He would never breathe easy again, but he was alive. And more importantly, Pip was alive. The little one followed him everywhere now, chirping, laughing, learning to speak more words. Koda was Pip's favorite word. The child said it constantly. When hungry, when scared, when happy, always Koda. Vrenna watched them with soft eyes. She had explained the Velcor bond to Hyun-woo many times. He still didn't fully understand it. In her culture, it was deeper than marriage, deeper than adoption. It was a soul bond, two people tied together by sacrifice and love, forever. "But I'm human," Hyunwoo had said, "and you're Kelthari. How does that even work? The bond doesn't care about species. It cares about actions. You saved Pip multiple times. You proved your heart. That's all that matters. But when we get out of here, when we get out, you come with us. That's how it works." Hyunwoo didn't argue. There was no point. And honestly, he wasn't sure he wanted to argue. Where else would he go? His home colony was ash. His family was dead. He had nothing waiting for him in human space except memories and graves. The liberation came without warning. One morning, the sky filled with ships, Galactic Coalition ships. They had finally tracked down this illegal mining operation. Troops poured in. The Kareth guards tried to fight. It lasted about 10 minutes. Then it was over. Overseer Krask was arrested. He screamed and cursed as they dragged him away. He looked at Hyunwoo one last time, hatred burning in his 4 eyes. "This is your fault, human. All of it." Hyunwoo said nothing, just watched him go. The Coalition soldiers freed all the prisoners. Medical teams treated injuries. Officials recorded names and species for relocation. A human officer found Hyunwoo. "Sergeant Hyunwoo, we have you on record as captured 14 months ago. We're arranging transport back to human territory. You'll be home in a week." Home. The word felt strange. Empty. "Thank you," Hyunwoo said, but his chest felt tight. That evening, he sat with Vrenna and Pip outside the barracks. The sun was setting, turning the toxic sky beautiful shades of red and purple. Pip was playing with a small toy one of the soldiers had given the child. Happy, carefree. "They're sending me back," Hyunwoo said. "To human space." Vrenna was quiet for a long time. "Is that what you want?" "I don't know. I should want it. It's my people, my kind. But I have nothing there. No one waiting. No place to go." He looked at Pip. "Here, I have this. I have you two. I have a reason to wake up in the morning. Then stay with us." "It's not that simple. I'm human. You're Kelthari. Your people might not accept me. And the Coalition might not let me just leave human territory to live with an alien family." Vrenna took his hand. "The Velcor bond is recognized under galactic law. It's an ancient tradition. Multiple species honor it. If I claim you as family, if I refuse to release the bond, you can come with us. It's legal. You do that? Keep me with you? Hyunwoo, you saved my child's life. Multiple times. You almost died for Pip. You are Coda. You are family. I won't let you go unless you truly want to leave. And even then, I will fight to keep you." "I'm not your prisoner, Vrenna." "No, you're not. But you are mine, and I am yours. That's what the bond means. We belong to each other. We protect each other. We don't abandon each other." Her golden eyes were fierce. "Do you want to leave? Truly?" Hyunwoo looked at Pip. The child noticed him watching and chirped happily. "Coda, look!" Pip held up the toy. "I see it, little one. It's very nice." "Coda, stay. Not go away." Hyunwoo's heart cracked. I don't know yet, Pip." The child's scales darkened, fear response. "Coda leave Pip? No! Coda promised. Protect or not leave." Pip's voice rose. The child was crying now. "Please not go! Please!" Vrenna picked up Pip, holding the crying child close. She looked at Hyunwoo. "You asked me once why I would force this bond on you. This is why. Because Pip needs you. Because I need you. Because you are ours, and we are yours, and family doesn't abandon family." A coalition mediator came to speak with them the next day. A professional-looking alien with gray skin and multiple eyes. She sat down with Hyunwoo and Vrenna and pulled up documents on a datapad. "I understand there's a Velcor bond in question?" the mediator asked. "Yes," Vrenna said. "I declared it publicly, witnessed by over 200 prisoners. Hyunwoo saved my offspring's life multiple times. He is Koda. He is Velkor. He is family." The mediator looked at Hyunwoo. "Do you accept this bond?" Hyunwoo hesitated. "It's a simple question, Sergeant. Do you accept being bound to this family?" Hyunwoo looked at Vrenna, at Pip. They were watching him with hope and fear mixed together. Two beings who had been through hell with him, who had kept him alive, who had given him purpose when he had nothing. "What happens if I accept?" he asked. The mediator consulted her pad. "Under galactic law, you would be recognized as family. You could live on the Kelthari homeworld with them. You would have legal standing as Pip's guardian. You would be granted citizenship rights. The bond can only be broken by mutual consent or death." "And if I refuse?" "You would be sent back to human territory. They would go to Kelthar. You would likely never see each other again." "Never?" Pip's voice was small and broken. "Koda gone forever?" Hyunwoo felt something break inside him, not painfully. More like ice melting, like chains falling away. He had been holding on to the past for so long, holding on to grief, holding on to the life he lost. But that life was gone. Hana was gone. Gina was gone. He couldn't bring them back by staying alone, but he could have this. He could have Pip, could have Vrenna, could have a new family, not a replacement, never a replacement, but something new, something that needed him just as much as he needed them. "I accept," he said. Pip squealed with joy and launched into his arms. Vrenna's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. The mediator made notes on her pad. "Very well, I'll file the paperwork. Congratulations, Sergeant. You're now legally recognized as Velkor, part of a Kelthari family unit. You'll be granted travel clearance to Kelthar." After the mediator left, Hyunwoo held Pip while Vrenna sat close. The child was chirping happily, already chattering about their new home. "You're sure about this?" Vrenna asked quietly. "This is forever, Hyunwoo. Once we leave for Kelthar, there's no going back." "I know. And yeah, I'm sure." He looked at her. "I've been dead inside since I lost my first family, just going through motions, surviving but not living. But you two, you made me feel alive again, made me remember what it's like to have something worth protecting. Why would I walk away from that?" "Because it's strange. Because we're not human. Because none of that matters." He smiled. "I learned something in that camp. Species doesn't matter. Strength doesn't matter. What matters is who you protect, who you love, who you choose to stand beside when everything goes to hell." "I choose you two. I choose this family." Vrenna leaned against him. For the first time since they met, she let herself be vulnerable, let herself cry. "We choose you too, Koda. We choose you too." 2 weeks later, they boarded a ship bound for Kelthar. The Kelthari homeworld was beautiful, all green forests and purple mountains. The Kelthari people were proud and fierce, but they welcomed Hyunwoo with respect. The human who had bonded with one of their own. The human who had proven that strength wasn't just physical. Pip thrived in the new environment, grew stronger, healthier, started school with other Kelthari children. And every day, Pip would run home calling Koda, Koda, and tell Hyunwoo about everything that happened. Vrenna returned to her former life as a warrior trainer, but now she had a partner. Someone to share the burdens, someone to help raise Pip, someone who understood loss and pain and the importance of protecting what matters. Hyunwoo found work training others in human endurance techniques. Other species wanted to learn how humans could survive so much, could endure so much. He taught them about human resilience, about mental strength, about choosing to keep going when everything says to quit. At night, the three of them would sit together, Pip between them, and Hyunwoo would tell stories about Earth, about his old life, about Hana and Gina. Vrenna never felt jealous. She understood that he carried his dead with him. She did too. "You miss them," she said one night after Pip had fallen asleep. "Every day," Hyun-woo admitted. "But I'm grateful too. Grateful I had them. Grateful for the time we shared. And grateful that I got a second chance here, with you and Pip. I didn't think I'd ever have a family again. You endured every hit to protect my child. Now you're stuck with us forever." She smiled. "Are you happy, Hyun-woo?" He looked at Pip sleeping peacefully, looked at Vrenna beside him, looked at the home they had built together. And for the first time in years, he answered honestly, "Yeah, I am. I really am." He had gone into that labor camp as a broken man with nothing to live for. He had come out as Coda, as Velcor, as family. He had chosen to endure, to protect, to love again despite the pain, and in the end, that choice had saved him just as much as he had saved them. Some bonds are forged in blood, some in battle, some in sacrifice. And some bonds are forged in all three. Those bonds never break. This was one of those bonds. Forever and always, Coda, Velcor, family.